This PowerPoint will be discussing sexual orientation and the effects of violence, discrimination, and prejudice on those in the LGBTQ community. We'll start with a quick introduction, who we'll be discussing, the challenges they've faced, what I found to be most inspirational, most important, and how we can prevent these things from happening in the future. We'll wrap up with a quick conclusion and a couple of questions. Throughout this PowerPoint, you'll hear me discuss the unfair treatment of the LGBTQ community, bullying experienced at the hands of classmates, family, friends, and strangers, and we'll explore how people have overcome these struggles and what we can do moving forward to help prevent the struggles from happening in the first place. The case study that I chose dove into the stories of 7 incredibly brave humans that chose to share their stories. They discussed the injustices they experienced throughout their lives and how they overcame them. Each story is unique and different in their own way, and we'll be talking about Andrew, Kit, Karamo, Amir, Daniel, Trevor, and Don's stories. Andrew experienced STD stereotyping when a classmate automatically assumed he would know about AIDS simply because he was gay. This wasn't a friend who made these assumptions, but a stranger in class who had a preconceived notion about who he was and that he would clearly have an STD, or at least know about them. Kit was bullied by the jocks in his art class and called the quote-unquote gay kid on a daily basis. They threw rocks at his head and made his life hell on earth until his mom called the principal and threatened to have them charged with sexual harassment. It was only then that the students gave him a break. Karamo experienced harassment and bullying from the youth pastors at his church. They even went so far as to specifically preach about how gay people will go to hell. Amir was bullied in school due to looking quote-unquote too feminine for his peers' liking. Nothing he did felt like enough for his peers or felt masculine enough, and the bullying was relentless. Daniel experienced sexual discrimination at the hands of his own college roommate. He found the word fag written on his door one day, and the mistreatment began there. He dressed more feminine than those around him were comfortable with, and his roommate up and left one day without any word. He took this opportunity to get involved on campus in their LGBTQ organization and was able to make a difference in his peers' lives. He even became the president by the end of the year and received much more funding that allowed them to help others. Trevor and Don both experienced physical violence at the hands of their peers and received no support from the teachers and staff that were supposed to protect them. It's so common that people from the LGBTQ community experience discrimination, prejudice, violence, stereotyping, and so much more with little to no support. I found these 7 individuals' resilience, strength, determination, endurance, and grit the most inspirational. Trevor specifically shared how he oftentimes wanted to end his life and didn't. I couldn't imagine in the furthest depths of my mind what it must have felt like to experience what any of them felt like, even just for one day. The true determination and strength they had to get through each day is something I aspire to have. The most important thing I've learned is to treat people with kindness. You never truly know what someone is going through, and how just being kind, just being nice and supportive and loving can make the biggest difference in their lives. Things we can do in the future could be things like LGBTQ support groups that offer peer support, inclusive education such as teaching accurate information about sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression starting at a young age. Anti-bias training to help people recognize stereotypes, their unconscious biases, and the real-world impact of the discrimination they may have. Hate crime laws and enforcement to ensure violence motivated by bias is taken seriously and investigated properly. Hate crime laws can be in place, but without any enforcement, they don't do much. Family acceptance programs are important. They can educate caregivers on supporting LGBTQ youth and even adults. Faith and cultural leadership acceptance programs can help to promote acceptance within communities such as religious communities, and crisis hotlines such as the NAMI hotline can provide support for those actively struggling. In conclusion, LGBTQ discrimination, prejudice, and violence cause deep harm by threatening people's safety, mental health, and sense of belonging. These experiences can lead to fear, isolation, and long-term emotional and physical consequences, while also limiting access to education, employment, and healthcare. Preventing this harm is essential, but not only to protect individual rights and dignity, but also to build safe, more inclusive communities where everyone can live authentically and without fear. Ending discrimination benefits society as a whole by promoting equality, respect, and well-being for all. There are a couple of questions I had for the people who shared their stories in the article. How can I best support those close to me who are part of the LGBT community? What is one thing someone in your life has done to make you feel loved and accepted? How do you educate those around you on ways to prevent discrimination, prejudice, and violence? And do you participate in any outreach groups or offer peer support? This last slide has my references. Thank you.